Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a new book for you. So let's take a look at it and a new art supply. So let's take a look at them and we'll be right back. So I picked this book up from Amazon, and I always put the link in the description below, but this was not very expensive at all, and it's just a reference book, and it says an image archive for artists and designers, and introducing botanical art, vintage graphic resources company, and there's a high resolution digital download included when you buy this book. And the instructions for that is in the back of the book where it says download your files. So if you get this book, there is all kinds of reference photos, black and white, so you can see your lights and darks. I thought we would do a sunflower today, and that's the key to getting your sunflower to look realistic. So I have these watercolors. I picked them up. I'm kind of getting into the pastels and the vintage watercolors. These are by Art Philosophy. I have most of the other palettes, but I did not have this one, and I haven't opened it yet. They are beautiful colors. I may go over these in another video and go ahead and do a painting and some paints that I have ready, and we'll review this in another video, but I did want to show it to you. These are, I think, going to be really some gorgeous colors. I'm going to roughly sketch. This is a Koval mold made, or Colo artist watercolor 100% cotton mold made. So I'm going to roughly sketch this sunflower right here. I'm just going to roughly get a circle going and start making some petals. And I'm just looking at each petal at a time. They don't have to be exact. Just kind of take your eye and go around and put your petals in how they look for you. If they look like they're going to the left, then make them to the left a little bit. And if there was one sticking up behind it, go ahead and put that in. And just until you get around the whole flower. I might have got that one going a little wrong, so I'm going to fix it. Don't erase. Don't erase. Just keep going until you get all the way around. It doesn't matter if they're all the same. And if you do want to change a petal, just go ahead and draw right over it. All right, I think that's going to be good enough. All right, so then we got our stem coming down. And I just take the stem down and then I'll pull my leaves off of it. There's a little hook there. It's probably a new leaf. There's another leaf. And here's a big leaf over here. We got a little, there's some jagged edges on there, but I'm not going to worry about them right now. Here's another leaf. And here's a smaller leaf down here. Okay, sunflowers are just about gone right now. So what I do, I leave my sketch like that. I don't go into much detail on my sketch. I just get the get the basic shapes. And then I'll take a brush, and I usually always start with the center. And I'm going to start with some burnt umber. First, I'm going to wet it. I got a little burnt umber on there. First, I'm going to wet it, and then I'm going to just put some in there. And I'm going to leave that light spot. There's a light spot there. There's a light spot there. And I'm just going to leave those light spots. That is a key to getting them look realistic. So don't fill all of it in. All right, now, so one paint that I really like for sunflowers and some darks is Lunar Black. And that's a Daniel Smith paint. It is a pigment that is very dark, but yet it's granulating. So it will spread and settle, and it will leave that brown shining through. So I really like Lunar Black. And I just take it around the edges where the dark may be. Because if you look around here, there's dark all the way around that center. And I just put it in there and let it set. My sunflowers don't turn out perfect every time. Sometimes they don't turn out at all. Sometimes they turn out pretty good. So to let that dry just a little bit, actually, it's drying pretty good now and it's still shiny. So I'm going to take some raw sienna, and I like more natural sunflower colors. I don't like really bright yellow. If you want a really bright yellow, put it in there by all means. Or you can mix a little bright yellow in with this raw sienna. And then I just start making your petals around. And I skip around. One thing you've got to do is you say, oh, man, I'm not liking it. I'm not liking it. But you got to work past that. You got to work past what I call the ugly stage. There's that. The sunflowers are almost gone. It's August. There's a few left around the edges of the cornfield, but they've turned kind of dark. And I might get some quinacridone gold. And that's a little bit orangier. And pull in some of that. Not too much of a different color. Just to give it some variation. Okay, one more over here. All right, now let's get a little bit different color. Let's take some of this naphtha maroon and mix in with this raw sienna. And also maybe some quinacridone gold to just give it some good harmony. And we will kind of take it there in the middle. Now we're working on building our dark on the petals. And I haven't really looked at the reference photo anymore. I'm just kind of going by my mind's eye. All right, so I went outside the pencil lines. I've done my center. I've done my, let's get a little bit more of the Mars black or the Lunar Black. And maybe just tap in here a little bit. more around the edges, just to give it that good little dark, maybe look like some seeds. There. I like that. Yeah. Okay, now I'm going to take some Green Apatite Genuine. If you want a list of my favorite Daniel Smith paints, they can be found in the palette I made up, and I'll link that at the end cards. This is Green Apatite Genuine. I'm going to take some pigment off. Put that there. Just paint in this green. This green has some wonderful granulation. I'm going to be a little bit more careful around my leaves. I will have to say, I do enjoy Daniel Smith. I'm going to take some water and put on that stem, and that'll kind of lighten that stem towards the middle. Get a little bit of lunar black. Pull it up there. Put a little lunar black there in the, give it some dark. Just give it some dark areas. And let's get this last leaf. I'll do it wet and wet just so you can see that we can do it either way. And get some more pigment down here from the bottom. Daniel Smith is quite easy to work with and very beautiful. If you're still not liking your painting, stick with it because we're not anywhere near done. So here I've got my sunflower. This is my reference photo. I'm going to take up some little leaf sprouts and maybe make this leaf just a little bit darker. All right, we'll let that dry. We'll come back and do a few more steps. All right, so I'm looking at this and I'm thinking this looks pretty good, but I'm wanting some more dark, just a little bit more inward. So I'm gonna, with a mostly dry brush, because my paint is just a little bit wet. So with a dry brush, and some pigment, I'm just gonna tap in a little bit more dark. How's that look? A little bit more up here. That looks pretty good. I'm gonna stop there. Okay, and I need some dark in the leaves. So I'm gonna take some, I think I'm gonna take some, what should I have? Maybe some burnt umber. And I'm gonna use that very carefully. Maybe paint a little bit there. Take a smaller brush and blend it out. Drop some. There's a couple different techniques you can use. You could wet the area. I'm gonna get that wet and then drop my burnt umber there and let it go. Skip a petal, drop my burnt umber, or get my petal wet, get my burnt umber, and drop it in. Okay, I changed my mind from burnt umber to naphthalene maroon. I'm going to keep turning my page. I'm going to wet the pedal. I got interrupted by the driveway alarm, so I came back and looked at it and it was just blending right in. So I thought I would take naphthalene maroon, and that kind of went with it better. And it complemented this green. So I thought that was pretty. What do you think? Let's keep going, see what it turns out to be. I'm going to turn my page so it works for me, not against me. Make sure that's, get a little bit of naphthalene maroon, and I just dipped it right into the dry cake. I'm working with these, and this is Raw Sienna, Bronzite Genuine, Green Apatite Genuine, Naphthalene Maroon, and Kyanite Genuine. All right, let's work on this. Put a few streaks here. I like to get that dark around the edge. And I'm not going all the way up to the tip. All right, let's turn it. Wet this petal. If you want to watch this in real time, you can. Or you can go up to the settings and do it on a faster time if you'd like. Or fast forward and skip ahead. Turn the page. Get a wet brush, clean water. Wet my petal. This is a good watercolor technique too. It's basically called glazing. There's a pool of water there, so I'm going to pick that up. Get some naphthalene maroon. I'm going to finish it out. I don't know if I'm going to like it or not, but I'm going to finish it out, see how it goes. Let's see, I'm going to go here behind this other petal. I'm using the Princeton Neptune. It holds a lot of water. Number 8 and then number 4 for the little lines. I'm going to put a little extra naphthalene maroon down here. Alright, so this is dry, so I can go on this petal. I'm seeing these fall sunflowers, and they're quite beautiful. I'm seeing them in grocery stores where they have these little bouquets of fall colored, these dark red and golden yellow. Okay. Naphthalene maroon. Using 2 brushes is a good thing to practice. If you're careful and don't get your other petals wet, you'll have a good separation. A little darker right there at the base of the petal. All right. Let's wet this one. Now I have done all this with an ink pen too, all the darker lines, like with a micron, and that's pretty too. Okay, we'll keep going on, but I'm going to stop the video and we'll come back when I have all this done. Okay, so I am about an hour in this painting. I kind of have abandoned my reference photos, so I'm going to close this. And just for your reference, I'm going to hold this up so you can go down below and click that link and get this book. It's really, really good. Really, really good to help you draw, because you can see the darks and the lights. And like I said, it has high resolution digital download included. So if you needed to print them off and trace them, that would be helpful, I think. And so I've went around this painting and I've gotten all the naphtha maroon darks around the center. I'm not satisfied, so I went around the edges over here with a little bit of wet on dry. So I went around the corners here, or the edges of the petal, with some really concentrated paint, and just kind of went around the edges there like that. I always have to turn my sketchbook. So, you know, you do what is helpful to you. Now this is kind of a turn petal, so I'm gonna go around that. And I still may go around this with some micron. That's a folded petal. All right. So, there's the sunflower. Still not happy with it. When I squint my eyes at it, my leaves are flat. So I'm going to give my leaves a little bit of another layer. And I think I'm going to add some brighter yellow to it. Hansa Yellow Light. Just to give them some sunshine. Not very much because it's fall. All right, so I think as far as painting goes, that's all I'm going to do. So now I'm going to get a micron, probably a 0.05, or here's a 0.08. I think I'll get a 0.08 so I can get a little bit more of a thicker line. So I'm going to hold my micron up to the top, if I can get that pen lid to snap on good. And I'm just going to start kind of doodling and making some circles and some figure eights. And then in the center here, I'm just going to give it some dots and do a little bit of stippling. Just for some more detail. Where I got the dark, I'm going to just do some scribbles and mark making. Some more stippling. Maybe a few more just little marks. Nothing major. Okay, I'm going to stop there in the center. Now I'm going to go around the leaves. I just have to. For the petals. I just want to. I like my watercolor without pen, but I really like it with pen. Let's see, let's go over here. We'll put a few more marks in there too. And around here. Alright, we'll turn our page. I'll put a few more marks in there. I think that light spot is just a little bit too big. There's all kinds of YouTubers on and content creators that have tutorials on sunflowers. This is just a little bit different. turn my page, turn my sketchbook so it can go with it the way it works for me. Big proponent of that. And when I see a little imperfection, I just go with it. I just like, let me show you. There's some imperfections there. So I just kind of go around them and then bring a line down. And it kind of looks like the petals folded. And if you see one that kind of looks like it's in front of or behind, draw it that way. Now see, that one's kind of folded down, so I brought some black marks down and it kind of looks like the petals folded or creased. Same goes for here. It looks like the petals creased. I always wondered, how do they do that? Took me a long time to learn. Let's turn it this way. And if you think the petals laying a certain way, make your lines kind of correspond with that. That way it'll look like the petals going that way. Like this one right here. Looks like the petals going that way. This one kind of looks like the petals going down. Now I might want some more light areas because this is feeling real dark right now and I need some highlights. But let's go ahead and go around this, going around the leaf as it is. I got everything kind of dark. I gotta think about how I can do one of two things. That flower is really dark. So let me stop there and I'm gonna show you how I would lighten an area. Let me get a different brush. I'll be right back. Okay, so this is a dark sunflower, and you know, to lighten it, I could do one of two things. I could take a damp, this is called a mini mop. It's 1/8 Princeton Velvet Touch, and I could go in here and I could kind of wet this and take a clean paper towel and lighten that up. And it's very effective. You got to be careful not to get outside the lines. You can do it with a regular, you know, and that lightens it up nice without taking too much of the original color off. And you might just want to do this to the front petals, and that will kind of push them forward, and those other darker ones could be pushed back. And this is pretty much only if you're using pigments that will lift. There's another one. And for some reason that micron seems to be smudging. Maybe I didn't give it enough time to. But this is a watercolor technique that you can definitely do to lift the pigment if you've put too much on. And I was going pretty heavy with the pigment. Lifting it nicely. It's not lifting it totally back to white. And you can get a little bit stiffer brush to do this technique with. So how many techniques have we done? We've done lifting, we've done glazing, we've done wet into wet, we've done wet into dry, or wet on dry. We've done pen and ink. I'm going to turn that a little bit. I'm going to leave those back petals dark. I'm just pulling these front petals up by lifting some of the pigment. This might lift easier if you had it on Arches paper or Arche or, oh, what's that other paper? I got it off of Amazon for a sketchbook. It's really good. Bao, that's a good paper. Let's review what we've done. We've done pen and ink, we've done glazing, we've done wet on dry, we've done wet on wet, We've just done some simple mark making with the micron, glazing. I may have already said that. Now, I don't know if you could do this on cellulose paper or not. Maybe. It might set more on top, and you might be able to do it easier. That is a cheaper paper like Hansa XL watercolor paper. I'm just going to make a little curlicue down there at the bottom. You really don't have to be perfect. So if you take your micron, go around, and be real loose and make a curlicue, that's kind of cute. We've done loose painting. We've done tight painting. I kind of like those little curlicues at the bottom of the leaf. Well, that's dark where I need it to be. Let's take a little bit of this green apatite genuine and lift off some highlights of the leaves. That gives it some dimension. I think I'm wanting to do something up here again. Really scrub this. They have what they call a scrubber brush. I think Princeton has one. So if I can find that, I'll link it below. The ideal thing is to go on with your lighter layers first. But this is an effective technique. Okay, so do we want to do anything else to this? I think it still looks a little dull. I want to bring in some Hansa yellow light. Is this dry? Pretty much. It's a brighter yellow, and I think it'll give it some life. Sunflowers are getting dark, but you know, you always think of sunflowers as yellow. So I'm going to give it a little umph, a little bit of sunshine. I think that looks pretty. Just a little glaze. Turn your page. That Hansa yellow medium is just really, really the perfect yellow to do just about anything. In Rosa Gallery, you could use azo yellow or golden yellow or cadmium yellow. Cadmium's real pretty. Let's get a little bit more right here. There. What do you think? I think we'll stop right there. So here's some final paintings that I did, or final pictures that I took of this painting in my sketchbook. I messed around with it a little bit more, and then I decided to paint one of how the sunflowers are looking now. So they're a little droopy. I kind of like this better. It's looser, it's more transparent, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if you want a painting of anything else. I'll keep a list. See ya. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps. Bye.